Okay, good evening, dear students. Today is the last theory paper class, and this is all about the ethnographic research. Ethnographic research is a qualitative research method used to study and understand cultures and social groups through immersive fieldwork and first-hand observation. Keep in mind that is here the importance is to explore how the culture is affecting the behavior of the people. It involves the systematic study and documentation of the beliefs, behaviors, practices, and social dynamics of a particular cultural group or community. For example, when technology comes, at that time, some of the communities, they are very much anxious about how to adopt the technology. So, to develop the technology adaptation, it is important to study the ethnographic research. It involves the systematic study and documentation of the beliefs, behaviors, practices, and social dynamics of a particular cultural group or community. Ethnographers immerse themselves within the community they are studying. This is very important, immersion. Without immersion, it becomes very difficult to understand the reason behind the typical behavior of some community. Often living among its members and actively participating in their daily activities and rituals. This is also important. You have to participate in their daily activities and rituals. When I collected data from the tribal people of Manipur and the tribal people of Tripura, I have observed that there are a lot of rituals involved in their life. And in some situation, I was warned not to move to some place, because if I'll be there, it will be not possible for me to come out from that locality, maybe for 1 month or 3 months. So it happens. To be the ethnographer, it is very much challenging because you have to participate in their daily activities and rituals. Some of the example of ethnographic research is the role of rituals in Balinese village. You know, that is Balinese villages in Indonesia, and they are maintaining a lot of the rituals. So this is one study. Another study, navigating identity in a multicultural neighborhood. I have noted the identity crisis of the tribal people in Manipur, specifically the people who are in the hill areas. Another research might be exploring communication patterns in an indigenous tribe. So here you can find out, that is, here your subject from whom you will collect the data. Usually they are the tribal people. Another one is the experience of migration. I have noted the migration issue in Manipur, specifically how the migration affects people's life in Manipur who are coming from hill to the plain land. I have studied, but everything is observation, not published any paper on that issue. Steps of ethnographic research. Defining the research question. Like all other qualitative research, the first part is the defining the research question. Identify the research question or topic of interest that will guide the ethnographic study. This question should be specific, relevant, and aligned with the goals of the research. So you have to design the question in such a manner so that you can find out some answers. My research question during my study in the tribal people's reading and writing motivation in Manipur, Tripura, Meghalaya. My research question is that why the per capita income is low when the literacy level of the people are very high. Because literacy is positively related to the per capita income. But in the northeastern states of India, where I have done the research, I have noted that is the literacy level very high, but the per capita income is low. So you have to think the question in such a manner so that you can explore some answers that can satisfy your question. Literature review. Conduct a thorough review of existing literature and previous ethnographic studies related to the research topic. This helps to familiarize yourself with the existing knowledge, theories, and concepts, and provides a foundation for your own research. So literature review provides you a lot of the insights about how to conduct the research, and you can get some ideas about whether there will be any sort of difficulties or limitations or barriers for your research. So literature review, this is very important. Developing the research design. Literature review also helps you to design your research. Determine the research design and methodology that best suits the research question and objectives. This includes decision on the scope of the study, selection of the research site, choice of data collection, methods, and ethical considerations. So in designing the research, you have to think these issues. What will be your research site selection? Specifically in ethnographic research, it becomes very challenging for site selection. During my data collection period, there was insurgency in Manipur. But during that period, I have taken risk on my life and I collected data. So it is very challenging if you want to do the ethnographic research. Gaining access and building rapport. Establish contact and gain permission to conduct research within the target community. Building trust and rapport with community members is crucial for obtaining their informed consent and cooperation throughout the research process. This is also very important because if you cannot build the trust, you will be in trouble. Okay, so you have to build up the trust and proper rapport. So ethnographic research is very much challenging. It is not very usual research type design. Data collection. Engage in participant observation, which involves immersing yourself within the community, observing and participating in their daily activities, rituals, and interactions. Additionally, collect data through interviews, focus groups, document analysis, and other appropriate methods to gather rich and diverse information about the culture. You have to keep in mind that is in ethnographic research, you have to find out the culture as your independent variable. Okay, so culture basically affects the behavior of the people. Specifically, their rituals, their style of life, their daily activities. And you have to study the different documents. When I went to Manipur, I spent some time at the Manipur University Library. I surveyed several research papers about the tribal issues, their educational and their lifestyle, etc. So document analysis is very, very important. And I have noted that the tribals have their own educational system. And that educational system is very much related to their everyday life. So I observed that is our formal education system is in conflict with the tribal's own education system. Data analysis. Analyze the collected data using a combination of qualitative methods, such as thematic analysis, coding, and interpretation. This process involves organizing, categorizing, and identifying patterns, themes, and cultural meanings within the data. Since it is a qualitative data, you have to explore specific patterns, specific themes, and what is the meaning of the culture. Triangulation. To enhance the reliability and validity of the findings, employ triangulation by cross-referencing data from different sources and perspectives. This can include comparing data collected through participant observation, interviews, and document analysis to ensure consistency and accuracy. This is a very challenging because you have to do the cross-reference. When we are talking about the ethnographic research, the name that comes to our mind, that is the Malinowski. Malinowski's PhD thesis is based upon the ethnographic. And he did the cross-referencing. Interpretation and theory building. Interpreting and theory building, it includes the interpreting the findings within the broader theoretical frameworks of anthropology, or social sciences. Analyze the data to develop explanations, theories, and insights into the cultural practices, social structures, and beliefs of the research community. Okay. Reporting and dissemination. Prepare a comprehensive report that outlines the research findings, methodologies, and interpretations. This report should be accessible and informative to both academic and non-academic audiences. Disseminate the findings through academic publications, presentations, or community engagement, ensuring respect for the privacy and dignity of the research community. So this is very, very important because you have to develop the trust. You have to build the trust among the community. So they will perceive you as you are the trustworthy. Then you can get a lot of the information from them. Reflexivity and ethical considerations. Engage in reflexivity by critically reflecting on your role as a researcher, acknowledging biases, and addressing potential ethical concerns through the research process. Maintain ongoing ethical practices, such as informed consent, privacy protection, and participant anonymity. So these things are very, very important in case of the ethnographic research. You have to maintain the ethical considerations you have to maintain. I think now it is clear to you that is what is ethnography.
Sir, sir, I have some doubt in triangulation part.
Yes, Devjani. Triangulation part.
Yes, sir. It's not.
Yeah. Here, the cross-referencing. Suppose I went to Manipur, I collected the data. Okay. And after that, you also visited Manipur. You also collected some of the data. And you have also observed that is, okay, this type of educational conflict that is also there because they have their own system. Okay. So that will validate the model. So it is a cross-referencing the data.
Actually, sir, for 2% will gather data, but in same research question.
Yeah, 2 persons went to there with the same type of research question or different research question maybe, but you can explore. That is, okay, this phenomena is there. Okay, because one professor I met him there in Manipur, and he told me that is the tribal people have their own education system. Okay. And when I visited the hill areas and I interviewed, I observed, organized some focus group discussion, there I have noted that is the underlying reason behind the conflict of the formal education system and their own education system. So that you can think about the cross-referencing. But
Sir,
two people, yeah, they are not in the at the same time.
Okay. Sir, in that case, that one professor from Manipur and one is the other state, but you are from the other state. That is a different, the observation aspect may change according to her own ethnic values may affect this situation, sir?
Yeah, he observed based upon his own research, he observed. And when I went to the place, I also observed the same thing. And I have observed some interesting point, that is the conflict. He did not observe this conflict. He observed there is on his own system. Yes, but I have also observed there is a conflict between the formal education system and their own education system. And I have noted that is the hill people, their education system, that is very much related to the application oriented. Okay, but our formal system, that is basically knowledge oriented. So the knowledge, it should be applied, but our education system is not able to provide this type of support so that the people, these tribal people, they can accept, okay, whatever the knowledge is there, this can be applied there in their daily life.
Sir, in that case, you have no subjectivity, but you have no subjectivity, but the professor have some subjectivity, sir?
No, it is not like that. Professor observed something, I have observed something.
Oh.
It is not that is, I am not telling that is okay, what professor has observed, that is wrong. That is not
subjective biasness may present, that I have told.
Here everything is it is a qualitative. It is the qualitative.
Sir, in that qualitative research, the subjective biasness may present. Is so that
you have to validate. Yeah, that is the thing. Because I collected data from them. I collected quantitative data also. And I have observed that is their motivation to reading is related to the application oriented. But the people who are in the plain land, their orientation is the knowledge oriented. So two things differ. So how do you teach the students in the tribal people? So that strategy will be different. I observe many things, and same thing I have observed many things in Tripura also. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now I am coming to the research tools for ethnographic research. In any research, you should maintain some research tools. This is the field notes. Field notes are detailed written descriptions of observations, interactions, and experiences made by the researcher during fieldwork. They capture the researcher's thoughts, reflections, and interpretations of the cultural context. So these field notes, very, very important. When you visit some place, you will observe everything. And later on, you will write. So this is the thing I have observed. So these field notes, this is vital. With whom you interact and the localities that you have covered, all those things will be in the field notes. Audio and video recording. Recording interviews, conversations, and events can help capture and analyze important details that may be missed during the fieldwork. It allows for accurate transcription and later analysis of the data. This is very important, but please you maintain the ethical consideration. You have to tell the person that you are recording for your own research. Photography and videography. Visual documentation through photographs and videos can be used to capture cultural artifacts, practices, and physical surroundings. They provide a visual record that can be analyzed and shared with others. So these are the important tools. Another tool is the interviews. Conducting interviews with community members and key informants is a fundamental part of ethnographic research. These interviews can be structured, semi-structured, or unstructured, depending on the research objectives and the level of flexibility required. Maybe it is structured, maybe it's semi-structured. So all sorts of interviews you can make. Participant observation. Participant observation involves immersing oneself in the community being studied, actively participating in activities, and observing social interactions. This method allows the researcher to gain first-hand experience and insights into the culture. This is very challenging because you have to take their foods, You have to wear their dresses and you have to follow all the rituals they are performing.
Sir, when the foreigners came to in Durga Puja to uh, study the
Yeah, the
ethnography.
foreigners coming. Yeah, they are also thinking we are the ethnic group.
Now, I've seen that. And they have take part in the Bonedibari Puja.
Yeah, yeah. So in that context, we are the ethnic group. Nah? Surveys and questionnaires. While less commonly used in ethnographic research, surveys and questionnaires can be useful for collecting quantitative data on specific aspects of the culture or for gathering demographic information. Okay, if possible, you can use some of the questionnaire also. I have used the questionnaire. I have used all those tools, field notes, participant observation. I had some difficulty because sometimes I could not take their foods, but I joined with them because the foods are fermented foods and I could not take that food. Sometimes some people offered me alcohol, but I could not. So, so I cannot tell that is the, I have followed the total immersion. Okay, but if you can follow the total immersion, definitely you will learn something more. Cultural artifacts. Cultural artifacts and documents. This is very, very important in ethnographic research because your interpretation will be based upon the culture issue. Cultural artifacts such as artworks, literature, documents, and historical records. They can provide valuable insights into the community's beliefs, values, and practices. Digital tools. Nowadays, people are using different digital tools for mapping the qualitative data. With the advancement of technology, various digital tools can assist ethnographic research. These include data analysis software, for example, NVivo, Atlas TI for organizing and coding qualitative data, online collaboration platforms for sharing and discussing findings, and social media platforms for engaging with the community and gathering insights. So this is the digital tool. NVivo software, very common nowadays. So it's important to note that the choice of research tools depends on the specific research goals. So which tools you will consider for your research, that depends upon the research goals, the cultural context being studied, and the preferences and skills of the researcher. Ethnographic research often involves a combination of these tools to provide a comprehensive understanding of the culture and community under investigation. Whatever the tools I have discussed, you can use all the tools for interpreting your data. Now, like all the qualitative research, we have to think about the limitations of the research. So ethnographic research has also some limitation. Subjectivity and bias. Ethnographic research relies heavily on the researcher's interpretation and perspective. I have told you, that is, I observed the conflict between formal education system and tribal people's own education system. So this is my own observation. This is my own perspective. The researcher's biases, preconceptions, and cultural background can influence the data collection, analysis, and reporting, potentially introducing subjectivity into the research. Okay. Therefore, what I have done, I collected data from the primary school children through the questionnaire, and I tried to interpret the result based upon my own observation. So this is vital for any survey research. Most of the time in survey research, what we are doing, we are making one Google form and we are circulating the Google form. We are collecting the data, and whatever the data are available in the Google form, based upon that, we are making analysis. This is not very correct approach. Correct approach will be to understand the real reason for responding to the survey questionnaire. So it is better to visit the locality. It is better to make interview with that person face to face, so that you can interpret the data properly. Another limitation is the generalizability. Ethnographic research typically focuses on a specific cultural group or community, making it challenging to generalize findings to larger populations. The depth of understanding gained through ethnographic research often comes at the expense of broad generalizability. Now, generalization is very, very important in the quantitative research. Also, in some qualitative research, this is important, but this generalization becomes difficult in ethnographic research. Why? Because ethnographic research focuses on specific cultural group or community. So whatever your interpretation, that is mainly related to that particular community or group. So whatever my observation in Manipur, that may not be correct in case of the tribal people who are living in the South India. Or my observation, this conflict particularly in the hill area, that may not be the same in case of the valley area. So generalization is very difficult in ethnographic research. Limited sample size. Ethnographic research often involves a relatively small sample size due to the intensive nature of participant observation and the in-depth nature of data collection. This limited sample size may not adequately represent the diversity within the target culture or community, because you are visiting one particular place and you are making interaction with few people in that locality. Maybe you are involved totally with that type of family. Okay, so whatever your observation, that is limited to that family. So based upon that, you can not make any generalization for others. Time and resource constants. Ethnographic research is a time-intensive process that requires extended periods of immersion in the field. This can be challenging due to logistical constraints, limited funding, time limitations imposed by academic or practical consideration. I have told you that is in some locality, I was warned not to move further, because if I move further, then I will be in trouble. I have to spend long days with the community, and I have to follow all the rituals of that community. So if I have enough time, okay, then I can do it. But I do not have enough time, and I do not have much amount for spending. Therefore, that is not possible for me. So like all other research, when you want to do ethnographic research, you have to think about the limitations. Access and rapport. Gaining access to the research community and establishing rapport with participants can be challenging. Some communities may be wary of outsiders or may be hesitant to share personal and sensitive information, which can impact the quality and depth of data collected. For that reason, immersion technology or participant observation that usually suggested for ethnographic research. So that you can build up the trust within the community. Ethical considerations. Ethnographic research raises ethical considerations, including issues of informed consent, privacy, and potential harm to participants. Researchers must navigate these ethical challenges and ensure the well-being and dignity of the communities they study. Now, sometimes if you follow all the ethics, then you may not be able to collect some very valuable information. So that is the limitation here also. Observer effect. The presence of the researcher in the field may influence the behavior and dynamics of the research community. Participants may alter their behavior, become conscious of being observed, or try to present a more favorable image, potentially affecting the authenticity of the observed data. Okay, because the people, they are thinking that is, you are a researcher and you are here. So they will manipulate their behavior to satisfy your need. Therefore, you may not get the true picture. Language and cultural barriers. Language and cultural differences between the researcher and the research community can pose challenges in data collection, interpretation, and understanding. Miscommunication or misinterpretation of cultural nuances may occur and potentially impacting the accuracy of the findings. So language issue is very, very important. In Manipur, there are different tribal communities and they have their own language. So if you want to interact with the people, you have to understand their language. Therefore, what I have done, I have translated my questionnaire into several languages. So this is a very serious issue in ethnographic research. Translation and the retranslation, it takes a lot of the time. Another one, that is the limited time frame. Ethnographic research often takes place over a limited period, which may not capture the full range of cultural practices and changes that occur over time. So the longitudinal studies or extended periods of fieldwork are necessary to gain a more comprehensive understanding of cultural dynamics. Okay. There are two approaches are there. One is the cross-sectional approach. Another one is the longitudinal approach. In case of the longitudinal approach, you can observe how the behavior is changing due to different type of contextual factors. But in case of the cross-sectional approach, you may not get that type of information. So therefore, if you want to do the ethnographic research, it is better to follow the longitudinal approach so that you can get maximum information. And specifically, you can do the time series type of analysis, how the behavior pattern is changing over time due to different contextual factors. So this is all about the ethnographic research methodology today. Now, if you have any question, you can ask me. So now you have understood what is the difference between ethnographic research and non-ethnographic research. You have understood the different tools used for the ethnographic research. You have also understood the limitations in ethnographic research and how you can overcome the limitations for your research. Okay.
Sir, participants anonymity here means? Sir?
Participant?
Anonymity.
Have I used anonymity?
Yeah. Sir, it is in triangulation that you told. Participants anonymity is very, very important. Triangulation, but
Participant anonymity not written. Participant observation involves immersing oneself in the community, not the anonymity. Actively participating in activities and observing social interactions.
sir, in triangulation part.
Triangulation.
Right.
Where it is written, not written. Triangulation to enhance the reliability and validity of the findings. Employ triangulation by cross-referencing data from different sources and perspectives. This can include comparing data collected through participant observation, interviews, and document analysis to ensure consistency and accuracy. Have I used participant? I do not know.
Okay.
It is not there. In marketing, people also using the ethnographic research.
Yes, sir.
So actually, nowadays, it is very transcultural society. Society became
Yes.
changed.
Because a lot of the cultural factors are involved.
Involved.
Yeah.
Sir,
In case of the forensic psychology, also ethnographic research is important.
Yes.
For example, some behavior is not considered as the criminal behavior in some community.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, if we treat it as the criminal behavior, it's a crime, they cannot accept it. So this is very critical problem in case of the forensic psychology, it seems to be. This criminal psychology.
Sir, in ethnography, it is very time consuming. Actually, true ethnographic research takes more time. It takes lots of time.
Yeah, if you want to do the ethnographic research, you have to spend your whole time, day and night.
Yes, yes.
And you have to forget
I have
all
to
your
immerse in the community, in this culture,
Yeah.
in that culture.
In that culture, you have to follow their dress, their foods, you have to follow all their rituals, their dance, their music, everything.
Yes, sir.
And so
Then
that
I can do.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that you will not be identified as separate person. You are just the part of their community.
So it is theoretically very, but practically, I think it is very critical.
That
because
is true.
Because I accept, as a researcher, I will accept all the people, food, culture, etc. But they might not accept me.
Because if they will accept you, then there is a high probability that they will lose their own identity. That is the major problem that I have observed.
Oh.
So you are telling that is okay, this is the substance and you are abused. But they are not thinking it is at all abuse.
Yes.
Alcoholism is accepted in some community. Otherwise, they cannot survive. So
it is a part of their life, actually, sir. In some of the countries, that it is a part of their life, as beverages, as so. But we are not accept. It is so cultural barriers are there, and it is somehow it may create biases.
Because the tribals, they have their own identity. They have their own identity. And they are suffering from the identity crisis. This is a serious issue. In one locality, one tribal group is there. In another locality, another tribal group is there. So there is the conflict between the two tribal groups. That is also there. Because their lifestyle is totally different. Not only the tribal group, simple, I went to Nadia, that is in West Bengal, to study the agricultural activities. And I observed the resistance from the people, because they are telling me, you are coming from Kolkata, you will study our agricultural activities, our farming activities. And after that, you will change our farming style. So they are afraid.
They are not explored their farming activities.
No. So they are telling it is your intention. Why? Because we want to capture our land. So they are afraid. So it is not only the tribal community, it's a very common people. There is some high feeling of community insecurity.
Sir, I have experienced one. It is I don't think it is ethnicity, but it is some. I mean, it is. I think it is not cultural activity, but in the Purulia, when I spent 5 years, then when I came to the home visit for the community activity, then I saw there the all men are in the home, and all majority or not all, majority of the women are go to the go to for some of the activities or work or household work. Household means to give them house work for another house. Actually, homemade service.
Okay.
Maid service. But the all majority of the men are in the home and with taking alcohol, and they are in the home and they are the they in the leisure time. They always lying in the home.
Achha.
By taking the alcohol.
Yeah.
And majority of the women is do their activities.
Working there.
Working there.
And
they earn some money also.
Yeah.
For their day-to-day life.
Correct. So if you want to understand why it happens, you have to spend your time there. When I have done some research in Midnapur district, and particularly where in lot of criminal activities are very much prevalent there, I collected data from that area also. And I have seen many social scientists are working there. They are spending their time as if they are their family members. So that is the participant observation. Mainly they are coming from Jadavpur University. I have seen some people. That means ethnographic research is very challenging. It is not very easy. And one major issue is that you have to study what are the contextual factors that can change the behavior.
Sir, in this context, I want to share something same factors or same questions will have different contextual factors like the geographical distribution.
Yeah.
If one factor is studying in being West Bengal, that birth practice and contraceptive practice, the result in Murshidabad, North Chobbish Pargona, South Chobbish Pargona, Howrah, there is several factors that will be explored. As the geographical location or the region is changed, their acceptance towards the factors will be different. So this is a quite challenging. And if
yeah, this is also nice thing. Yeah.
And sir, I have one more question. That in quantitative study, before the study or the planning phase, we are preparing the conceptual map. Okay. And in this qualitative study, do we require this conceptual map? We are preparing some thematic map after the data generation and during the thematic analysis phase. But before this,
so this is my observation. That is, without any preconceived ideas, you have to observe the phenomena that is happening in the environment in case of the qualitative research. Without any preconceived ideas. You do not have any preconceived ideas. You have to forget your preconceived ideas.
okay.
Otherwise, you will be biased.
Yes, and I was just thinking about
so there will be no hypothesis. There will be no hypothesis at all.
Okay. And while we are doing the thematic map or the thematic analysis, a few of the contextual factors are coming in that as a result.
Yeah,
is it okay?
That possibility is there, definitely. You can study the behavior and why the behavior is changing. All those things you can accommodate in your map.
Okay.
How the behaviors are interacting with each other. Maybe you have identified 5 themes and you have noted these 5 themes. They are related with each other in some way. So it is based upon your own observation. For example, in Bengal, this Durga Puja. So Durga Puja is not mere a Durga Puja festival. Durga Puja is related to the small scale industry.
Yes, sir.
So again, the small scale industry, that is also related to the income generation. So again, there is another thing, income. Income is related to the small scale industry. Small scale industry is related to the festival. Again, the small scale industry, that is related to their cultural heritage. So there are different, maybe the 5 themes are there. And then these 5 themes, they are interacting with each other. And when you want to report the qualitative data, if you can present in this manner, so that will be always better. So that you can give some thematic model. And this thematic model is changing. That is okay. But you have given some thematic model.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it clear to all of you? Today's lecture? Any question? Okay, thank you, Tejal. You have understood. Okay. So thematic map, is it clear? So please you try to give the thematic map, whatever based your research question. And after collection of the data, you give the thematic map. That will be better. Okay, now I am asking you if you are prepared to answer. That is, two case studies are there. One is the single case study, another one is the multiple case study. Have you started working on that?
Sir, I have started writing 2 case studies, and I have completed 1 case study, and the second one is started already, but I have to prepare some literature review, because there are 2 component in the 2 case of the 2 case is same, so that I can I try to communicate with this case, with the 2 case.
Yeah, for the literature review, you can take the support of sciencedirect.com
Yes, yes.
or Google
yes, sir.
Scholar.
Yes, sir.
PubMed.
Google Scholar and PubMed.
Yeah.
So
So
that
you will get support.
Yes, sir. So that it takes some time, sir. I think it is complete within 2 or 3 more working days.
You know, that is in the clinical setting, when we are taking the case history from the patient, we are also making some thematic map. No? So
Yes, sir.
thematic map, everyone is working on the thematic map. Single case study, thematic map, multiple case study, you can do the thematic map.
So I don't know it's in this I have written or not the thematic map. Actually I have not written any transcript material. I just take some verbatim and relate from the case study the 3 or 4 consecutive days I have taken the interview, and close observation are made in the indoor patient, and then she has discharged, and after 1 week she came in the outdoor, and I have taken one more history from the patient, her mother, and from her.
Okay, but please be guided with some research question.
Yes, sir.
That is important.
Yes, sir.
And there will be no hypothesis.
Yes, sir.
Because it is a qualitative research.
Yes,
so
sir.
there will be no hypothesis. Whatever
No,
you have
there is no
observed.
hypothesis.
No.
Yes, my observation reflect in the case in
Yeah.
this study, and what she said, I have taken field note thoroughly.
That is good. Please you do it.
Thank you, sir.
Then B, have you started? Data collection? Tejal, Sharbari, Naveen, Mona Lisa.
Sir, I am currently in the process of narrowing down the questions for my semi-structured interview. I have a set of questions and I have talked to the participants. They're currently busy. So they said that they'll be free on Monday and I'll collect the data on Monday.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you, everybody. Shara,
Yes,
may I
sir.
close now?
Students, are there any more doubts regarding the practical or the session? Sir, I think it's good to go.
Okay, so I'm telling everybody to close your hands for the prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, students, good night. Best wishes to all of you. If you have any problem, please you share with Shara Madam.